So, we're going to continue discussion on chapter one, this time with economic trends. So, the modern American regulatory state began in earnest in the wake of the Great Depression, and the U.S. economy has produced considerable gains in wealth for citizens. The manufacturing sector of the U.S. economy has declined, something we've heard about repeatedly in the 2020 and 2022 elections. And this change in nature work has led to significant internal migration into the US from the industrial North and Midwest to the less industrialized South and West. So states like California, Texas, Florida have grown considerably, while states like New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio have not. States in the South, like the ones I just discussed, have touted a low regulation environment. They're all conservative states, so they have low taxation and they are attracting a healthier economic production. Hence, why people are leaving from the more liberal states where there are higher taxation, such as New York and California, and coming to Texas. Governments in these states remain committed to low service, low tax models. So Texas believes that the government should not provide universal coverage, universal service, and they believe that all citizens should have low taxation. Population shift has also had popular political consequences. For instance, in Texas, we have gained two congressional seats because of the large influx of people coming to our state. Arizona also did gain a seat, Colorado and Florida. So, just for a recap, every 10 years, there's a census, and based on the census, we draw our congressional maps. Texas has grown so much in the last decade that we gained two congressional seats. But states like New York and Illinois, they have lost seats because people are leaving due again to the high taxation and the poor economy. So, states vary tremendously in their geographies. For instance, Nebraska does not have the same economic opportunities as New York or Texas. Here in Texas, we have the Port of Houston, which is the 10th busiest in the world, is a very highly successful economic engine. California is the single most important state for agricultural products. So if you're in agriculture, California is a good state to go to. But not because of volume, it's because of the value of what is grown, like avocados, almonds, kiwis. Those are not typical agriculture. So it's not that they're producing more agriculture in California than in Texas or other states. It's just the quality or the type of agriculture. Now I'm going to get into ideology. In Texas, we have a conservative ideology. So, ideology is your beliefs, your values, your opinions. So, even though we have a lot of Republicans, we also have a lot of Democrats in our cities in Texas. And some Democrats identify as conservative Democrats. So, in other words, your ideology can cross over political lines. You can be a conservative Republican, and you also can be a conservative Democrat. In fact, I always kid that conservative Democrats in Texas can identify as Republicans in most other states because we do have a large sector of Democrats who align in with the conservative ideology. An example at the presidential level would be Bill Clinton was considered a conservative Democrat. Hillary Clinton at one point was considered a conservative Democrat, as opposed to President Barack Obama, who is not considered a conservative Democrat. So, 2018 Gallup poll shows that residents of most states, it's not just a Texas thing, right, identify themselves as conservatives. Poll also measures the political ideology by asking respondents how do they identify themselves as conservative, very conservative, moderate, liberal, or very liberal. And so the finding of the poll suggests that there are more liberals than conservatives in 9 states. Those states are Massachusetts, or include Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, Washington, New York, Oregon. Some of those names should not surprise us at all. So the findings also show a gradual increase in the number of liberal states, up from just 1 state in 2011 to 3 in 2013, and then now 2018, where you have 9. State governments are modeled after their ideology. Again, in Texas, we are considered conservative and our leaders are conservative. We have 3 arms of government in Texas: the executive, which is Governor Abbott, the legislature, which are state reps and state senators, and the judiciary, which are judges. Every state has a bicameral legislature except for Nebraska. We in Texas have a bicameral legislature, the House of Representatives and the Senate. And our bicameral legislature meets every other year. So they meet on odd years. And we have what is called a part-time legislature because they meet every other year. Some states have a full-time legislature. In Texas, both arms, both portions of our legislature, the House of Representatives and the Senate, are comprised of a majority of Republicans. So we have a Republican legislature. Not all are Republican, but the majority are Republican. Education. In Texas, providing primary, secondary, and higher education accounts for between 50 to 60% of the state budget. So it's a huge area that our legislators have to look at. In Texas, we also have something that was referred to as the Robin Hood Plan. For instance, one study noted that the difference per student funding between predominantly white and predominantly black districts is about a third of the nationwide difference. So, in other words, wealthy districts complain that they're paying an ever increasing share of education funding for the non-wealthy districts. Hence the Robin Hood. Take money from the wealthy districts and give to the more or the less affluent districts. Our state constitution in Texas, and we have a whole chapter that's devoted to us, it's one of the largest in our country. It's 9 times the size of the national constitution. And as I mentioned, we're going to talk about it more in another chapter. But the length and detail of the state constitution reflects the fact that the federal constitution has enumerated powers. In other words, it states exactly what states are allowed to do or are supposed to do to protect its citizens. So I will be providing additional slides so you can have those slides and also have this video and also have the ebook so you can go along. And our next grading period will be after spring break. You will have another quiz. Oh, I don't think you've had your quiz yet. You'll have a quiz after spring break, but don't worry about that. This video will be uploaded today, which is Thursday. What's the date today? March 7th. And you pretty much don't have to do anything besides follow along, make sure you keep up, and I will see you in a week and we will cover chapter 3. Bye, everyone.